And Hamas has reportedly released its first video of an Israeli hostage held in Gaza. The video is believed to show 21-year-old Mia Shem, who is understood to have been abducted from that outdoor music festival. She says she received medical attention in Gaza after sustaining injuries to her arm and hand at the music festival. She concludes the video asking to be released and returned to her family as soon as possible. Israeli authorities say Mia's family had been informed of her abduction last week and is deploying all intelligence and operation measures in the search for her and other Israeli hostages. Well, joining us now with more analysis of the situation is our Sky News US contributor, Michael Ware. Michael, I do want to ask you about the US President's visit in a moment, but first, what is your reaction to that hostage video? We all would so love to see those poor people reunited with their families. 10 days in, could that still be a realistic outcome for some of them?
That's very hard for me personally to comment on. I spent 8 or 9 years in Iraq. I saw a lot of these hostage videos. A lot of them did not end well. Hamas is saying it has anything from 200 to 250 people. Even the Israelis say they've got more than 150 to 200 people. The foreigners, the ones who are not Israeli, yeah, maybe we can negotiate for them. Maybe there's something we can give Hamas. But particularly for the Israeli hostages, nothing short of a complete sort of stand down by Israel, I think, will encourage Hamas. I mean, it has echoes of the Islamic State. This is one of the biggest problems when we were trying to negotiate with the Islamic State over hostage video. There was nothing the Islamic State wanted from us. There was nothing we could give them. Their only value as hostages was as horror movies to be broadcast on TV. And you know the Israelis aren't going to back off. So it's very hard to see how Israel and Hamas can come to some kind of an accord to bring these people home. I'm really scared.
Yeah, it's a terrifying prospect, and you can only imagine the terror that their loved ones feel about the situation at the moment. We do keep seeing Israel relating Hamas to ISIS. Is that an apt description?
Well, I don't think so yet. The Islamic State was on an entirely different level when it came to violence and the way it communicated and sort of broadcast its violence. However, I will say that what has happened in the last week is an enormous step up by Hamas. I mean, I don't think anyone expected this from Hamas. This is Hamas starting to tread on Islamic State territory. Hamas has a decision-making point right now. They can choose to go down the Islamic State road, or they can choose to go down another road. Now, that said, let's not forget, Hamas is backed by Iran. In the revolution in 1979 in Iran, when the US embassy was overrun, Iran held on to 100-odd American diplomats and Marines for 444 days. I was in the war when Israel invaded Lebanon in 2006 to get back soldiers taken hostage, and it took 5 years to get those hostages back. So unlike the Islamic State, where I would have a much dire, more sinking feeling in my stomach, I do still hold out hope. It would take patience and it would take compromise, but I pray that there is still hope.
As we've been reporting, Joe Biden's heading to Israel. He'll meet also, while he's there, in the region with the Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas, along with the Egyptian president, also the Jordanian king. What's the ultimate aim here for President Biden? Just how much power does the US have in this region and over Israel in particular? Can Biden de-escalate the crisis, do you think?
They're great questions. What power does the US have? What is the intention of Biden's visit? What exactly can the US do? Honestly, they're terrible unknowns right now. My personal feeling, having just learned of President Biden's intended visit, is that at the end of the day, yes, America is backing Israel to their hilt. America is not going to leave Israel alone in this. Yet at the same time, my deep suspicion is that President Biden is entering a war zone with a message of restraint. Because if there's an Israeli grounded invasion, there are no winners here. And it's most unusual for a US president to do this. I was in Iraq when more than one American president visited the combat zone, but it was never announced, never knew that the president was there until he'd either been safe and this time they're advertising the fact that a US president is entering a war zone. I mean, that alone is a statement. Let's not forget, the Americans have amassed not one but two US aircraft carriers in the East Mediterranean. They're now sending a Marine Rapid Deployment Group to base offshore. That's not just for the president's safety. That's for any potential to rescue the hostages and to act as a massive deterrent against anyone like Hezbollah to the north of Israel in Lebanon, who is also backed by Iran, to tell them, do not even think about getting involved. But this is an incredibly bold move by a US president, and I think it tells us just how precarious the negotiations are going on, because this is not just Israel. This is also Egypt. This is also Jordan. Extends to Iraq. It extends to Syria. It extends to Iran. So this is an incredibly bold move.
Michael Ware, always so interesting to hear your insights and contributions. Really appreciate you making the time for us. Thank you.